The lights were flickering when she walked into the bathroom. 3 a.m., Highway 10, somewhere between Van Horn and nowhere. She locked the stall door behind her, and then she heard breathing, coming from the stall beside her, the one that had been empty a second ago. Texas rest stops, miles from anywhere. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, the kind of places where the silence feels wrong, where you park under those sodium lamps and something in your gut says, "Don't stay long." This isn't about ghost stories passed around campfires. This is about truckers who won't stop at certain exits anymore. Families who locked their doors and drove another 100 miles on empty. People who saw something they can't explain. Something that made them question if they were ever really alone out there in the dark. These are 10 of the creepiest true stories from Texas rest stops. The ones that made it out. The ones people still whisper about when the highway stretches too long and the night presses too close. She didn't move, didn't breathe. The breathing continued. Slow, steady, like someone trying to stay quiet but failing. She could see the gap under the stall wall. No feet, no shadow, nothing. But the breathing, it was right there, right beside her. She grabbed her keys, unlocked the stall. The door swung open and she ran, didn't look back. Didn't stop until she was in her car with the engine running and the doors locked. When she finally looked at the building through her windshield, all the lights were off. Every single one. The place was black. She could still see the building, the shape of it against the dark sky. But no light came from inside, no glow from the windows. Like the power had been cut the moment she left. She sat there, engine running, hands shaking on the wheel, and then she saw it. A figure, standing in the doorway of the women's restroom. Just standing there, silhouetted against the deeper darkness inside. Not moving, not walking, just standing, watching her car. She put it in drive. Her tires screeched as she pulled out. She drove 4 hours straight, never stopped again. When she told people what happened, they said she was exhausted, seeing things, but she knows what she heard, what she saw, and she knows something else, something she doesn't tell most people. When she got home and checked her phone, there was a photo, one she didn't take, taken at 3:04 a.m. inside the bathroom stall, facing the wall, and on the wall, written in something dark, were 2 words. I waited. Before the fear gets too close, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Here at Chills from Reality, every story leaves a mark, one you might not forget. The Van Horn rest stop still operates today. But if you talk to the overnight cleaning crew, they won't go into the women's restroom after midnight. They say the stalls lock from the inside, all of them, at the same time. And when they finally get them open, the floors are wet, even though the sinks are bone dry. The water is cold, ice cold, and it smells like standing water, like something that's been sitting stagnant for years. One cleaning woman quit after she found something in one of the stalls. She won't say what it was, but she moved out of Van Horn 3 days later, moved 200 miles away. And she never drove that stretch of highway again. Highway 287 cuts through the panhandle like a scar. Empty. Endless. At mile marker 114, there's a rest area that truckers call the waiting room. Nobody knows why. Nobody wants to ask. A driver named Marcus pulled in there one night around 2 a.m. Just needed to close his eyes for 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. He parked near the edge, away from the lights, away from the building. He locked the doors, tilted his seat back, and that's when he heard it. Tapping on the driver's side window, soft, rhythmic tap. Tap, tap. He opened his eyes. Nobody there. Just the empty lot. The distant hum of the highway. He closed his eyes again. Tap, tap, tap. Closer now. Harder. He sat up, looked around. Nothing. Not a soul. The parking lot was empty. His truck was the only vehicle there. The rest area building sat dark and silent across the lot. He could see the bathrooms, the covered picnic area, the information board with its faded maps, all empty, all still. He started the engine. The tapping stopped. He put it in gear, pulled forward about 10 feet, and then he looked in his side mirror. There was a man standing exactly where his truck had been, just standing there, facing the empty space, not moving, not turning, just standing. Marcus didn't stop driving for 6 hours. When he finally pulled into a truck stop outside Amarillo, he was shaking so hard he could barely hold his coffee. He told the waitress what happened. She nodded, said she'd heard that story before, said her uncle had seen the same thing, same rest stop, same man, always standing where the truck used to be. The waiting room is still there, still open. But if you check the logs, no trucks park there overnight anymore. Not since Marcus filed his report. Not since 3 other drivers came forward and said the same thing happened to them. Same man, same spot, always standing where the truck used to be, always facing the empty air, like he's waiting for something to come back. One driver said he watched the man for 5 minutes through his mirror. The man never moved, never blinked, just stood there in the dark. When the driver finally pulled away, he swears he saw the man smile. Interstate 20, eastbound, just past Sweetwater. There's a rest stop with picnic tables under a metal awning, concrete restrooms, vending machines that never work. A family stopped there in the summer of 2019. Mom, dad, 2 kids. They were driving to Dallas. It was late. The kids needed a bathroom break. They pulled in, parked under the lights. The mom took the kids to the restroom. The dad stayed by the car, stretched his legs, checked his phone. No signal. That's when he noticed. Every picnic table had something on it, small piles. He walked closer, shoes, children's shoes, lined up in neat little rows, tiny sneakers, sandals, Mary Janes, at least 20 pairs, maybe more, all different sizes, all worn, some with the laces still tied, some with little cartoon characters on them. SpongeBob, Dora, Lightning McQueen. He called out to his wife. She came running with the kids. Saw the shoes. Her face went white. The kids asked what was wrong. She didn't answer, just grabbed their hands and pulled them toward the car. The dad looked at the shoes again. Something was wrong about them. They weren't just old, they were arranged. Deliberately. Each pair facing the same direction. Toward the restrooms, like they were walking, like the children who wore them were still walking, still heading toward that building. He didn't say a word, just grabbed the kids and drove. They reported it to the highway patrol the next morning. When the officers arrived, the shoes were gone. Every single pair. The tables were empty, clean, like nothing had ever been there. But the officer who filed the report wrote something in the notes, something that didn't make it into the official record. He wrote, "Checked security footage. No one entered or left the rest area between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. But at 3:14 a.m., all the tables are full. At 3:15 a.m., they're empty. No one touched them." He also wrote something else. Something he crossed out, but you can still read if you look at the original report. He wrote, "I can hear them in the recording. Children laughing. But there are no children." That rest stop closed 6 months later. The state said it was for renovations. It never reopened. The building is still there. The tables are still there. But there's a chain across the entrance now. A sign that says, "Closed for maintenance." That was 4 years ago. The chain is rusty now. The sign is faded. But sometimes, if you drive past at night, you can see something on the tables. Small shapes, lined up in rows, and if you're foolish enough to stop and look, you might see them too. The shoes, still there, still waiting. Would you have stayed? Would you have checked the tables? Or would you have known some things aren't meant to be explained? Highway 59, southbound, near Edna. There's a rest area with 2 buildings. Men's on the left, women's on the right. A line of crepe myrtle trees between them. A woman named Angela stopped there one afternoon. Bright daylight. Nothing unusual. She walked into the women's restroom. It was empty. She went into a stall, did what she needed to do, and then she heard footsteps. Heavy, boots on tile. In the women's restroom! She froze. The footsteps stopped, right outside her stall. She could see the shadow under the door. Work boots, men's boots, dusty, old. She didn't breathe, didn't move. The shadow stood there. 1 minute, 2 minutes. She could hear breathing now, heavy, like someone who'd been running, or someone who was trying not to be heard. The shadow shifted. The boots turned, facing the door now, facing away from her. And then they walked, slow steps, toward the exit. She heard the main door open. Close. Silence. She waited another minute. Then she opened the stall door. The restroom was empty. She walked to the exit, pushed the door open, and stopped. There was no one outside, not a single person, not a single car. The parking lot was completely empty. Her car was still there, but every other vehicle, gone. The men's restroom door was propped open. She could see inside from where she stood. It was dark. The lights were off, but she could see something. A figure standing just inside the doorway, facing her, not moving, tall, impossibly tall, with shoulders that seemed too wide for the doorframe. She ran to her car, got in, locked the doors, started the engine, and as she pulled out, she looked back. The figure was still there, still standing in the doorway, still watching. But now, there was someone else standing behind it, and another, and another. A line of shapes in the dark, all watching her leave, all standing perfectly still, all the same height, all with those same 2 wide shoulders. She counted 7 of them before she looked away. She drove until she hit the next town, pulled into a gas station, sat there shaking for 20 minutes before she could even get out of the car. Angela reported it to the police. They checked the rest area, found nothing unusual, but the maintenance logs show something strange. For 3 weeks after her report, the women's restroom flooded every night at exactly the same time. 9:47 p.m. The water came from nowhere, no burst pipes, no leaks, just water rising from the drains, cold water, black water. When maintenance arrived to clean it up, they found things in the water, things that shouldn't have been there. Work gloves, old ones, leather, at least 12 pairs, and tools, hammers, wrenches covered in rust like they'd been underground for decades. And when they finally got it to stop, they found something in the pipes, boot prints, in the concrete, like someone had walked through wet cement. But the cement in those pipes had been set for over 30 years. The boot prints were size 13, and there were 7 pairs, all walking in the same direction, all heading toward the women's restroom, all stopped at the same spot, right where Angela's stall had been. Some say Angela imagined it. Stress, fatigue, a trick of the light. But dreams don't leave boot prints in 30-year-old concrete. Dreams don't flood restrooms at the exact same time every night for 3 weeks. And dreams don't leave behind work gloves that haven't been manufactured since 1987. Highway 90, west of Del Rio. There's a rest stop that sits alone on a stretch of nothing. No towns nearby, no gas stations, just desert and sky, and the kind of quiet that makes your ears ring. A truck driver named Hector pulled in one night. He needed coffee, needed to walk. He parked, got out, walked to the building. The lights inside were on, but dim, flickering. He pushed the door open. Inside, the vending machines were humming, the fluorescent lights buzzing. But something was wrong. The air was cold, too cold for August in Texas. He could see his breath. He walked to the vending machine, put in his money. Nothing happened. He pressed the button again. Nothing. He looked at the coin return, empty. He turned to leave, and that's when he saw them. Handprints on the glass door. Small handprints, dozens of them, all over the inside of the glass, like children had been pressing their hands against it, trying to get out. Some of the prints were smeared, like the hands had been sliding down, scratching, desperate. He pushed the door open, walked outside. The air was warm again. Normal. He looked back through the glass. The handprints were gone. He got in his truck, started the engine, and as he pulled away, he saw something in his rearview mirror. A small figure standing by the door, watching him. A child, maybe 6 or 7 years old, just standing there in the middle of nowhere at 3 a.m, wearing what looked like old clothes from another decade. The child didn't move, didn't wave, just watched. He slowed down, thought about going back, but something in his gut said no. Something about the way the child stood, too still, too straight, and the eyes, even from that distance, even in the dark. He could see the eyes, reflecting his taillights, like an animal's eyes. He kept driving. The next morning, he called the highway patrol, told them what he saw. They sent someone to check. They found nothing. No child, no footprints. But they did find something else. Inside the building, on the glass, handprints. Dozens of them on the inside, small, like children. But here's the thing. The doors were locked from the outside. They had been for hours. No one could have been inside. And when they measured the handprints, they weren't quite right. The proportions were off. The fingers too long. The palms too narrow, like something trying to look like a child's hand, but not quite getting it right. That rest stop is still open, but if you stop there at night, check the glass. Some say the handprints come back, always at the same time, always on the inside, always trying to get out. And some say, if you press your hand against the glass, if you match your palm to one of those prints, you'll feel it. Something pressing back from the other side. Something cold. Something that's been waiting. Interstate 35, northbound, just past Laredo. There's a rest area with a problem. Truckers know about it, locals know about it, but no one talks about it. Not officially. A driver named Cole stopped there to sleep. He backed into a spot, killed the engine, locked the doors, closed the curtain in his sleeper cab. Around midnight, he woke up. Something had woken him. A sound, scratching, like fingernails on metal. He stayed still, listened. The scratching continued, slow, deliberate, moving along the side of the trailer, from the back toward the cab, steady, patient, like someone walking alongside the truck, dragging their nails across the metal. He grabbed his flashlight, opened the curtain, looked out the window. Nothing, just the empty lot. A few other trucks parked far away, their lights off, their drivers sleeping. The scratching stopped. He lay back down. 5 minutes later, it started again, this time on the roof. Long, dragging sounds, like something crawling across the top of the cab. Back and forth, back and forth. He turned on the interior light, opened the door, got out, looked up. Nothing. The roof was empty. He walked around the truck, checked the trailer. Nothing. No scratches, no marks. The metal was clean, undisturbed. He got back in, locked the door, and that's when he heard it. Breathing. Inside the cab, behind the curtain, in the sleeper area, where he'd just been lying. Slow, wet, like someone breathing through water. He didn't move. The breathing continued. He could feel the air moving, could feel the presence of something. Right there. Right behind him. He grabbed the door handle, threw it open, jumped out, looked back inside. Nothing. The sleeper was empty. But the blanket was pulled back, like someone had just gotten out of bed. And the pillow had an indentation, like a head had been resting there. He didn't sleep that night. He drove until sunrise, when he finally stopped at a truck stop. He checked his cab. There was something on the pillow, a strand of hair, long, black, not his, and something else, a smell, like wet earth, like something that had been buried. He threw the pillow away, bought a new one, but he never stopped at that rest area again. And sometimes, late at night, when he's driving, he swears he can still hear it, that breathing, in the back of the cab, just behind him, waiting. Other drivers have reported the same thing, the scratching, the breathing, the feeling that someone is in the cab with them. The highway patrol has investigated multiple times. They've found nothing, but the reports keep coming. Always the same rest area, always at night, always the same feeling. You're not alone. One driver said he took photos of his cab after it happened. When he developed them, there was something in one of the pictures, a shadow in the sleeper, a shadow that looked like a person, curled up, hiding, waiting. Could you trust your own eyes? Or would you start to wonder if maybe you'd been watched all along? Highway 83, near Uvalde, there's a rest stop that used to have pay phones. 3 of them, lined up against the wall. They don't work anymore. Haven't for years. The cords are cut. The receivers are gone. Just empty metal boxes bolted to concrete, but sometimes they still ring. A man named David stopped there one evening, just before sunset. He needed to use the restroom. He parked, got out, walked toward the building. That's when he heard it, ringing. One of the payphones. Clear, loud, insistent. He stopped, looked at it. The phone was ringing. He could see the empty box. No receiver, no cord, but it was ringing. He walked over. The ringing got louder, more urgent, like someone desperately trying to get through. He reached out, touched the metal box. The ringing stopped. And then, a voice coming from inside the box, faint, distant, saying his name. David, David, please, help me. He jerked his hand back. The voice stopped. He looked around. No one else was there. The parking lot was empty. Just his car, just the building, just the dying light. He walked to his car, got in, started the engine, and then all 3 phones started ringing. All at once, deafening, screaming. He could hear voices now, multiple voices, all talking at once, all saying his name, some crying, some pleading, some angry. He drove away, didn't look back, but he could still hear it, even with the windows up, even over the engine, the ringing, following him down the highway. It didn't stop until he was 5 miles away. The next day, he called the phone company, asked if those phones were still active. They checked. The phones had been disconnected in 2003. The boxes had been emptied in 2005. There was no mechanism inside them, no electronics, no speakers, nothing that could produce sound. But David knows what he heard, his name, clear as anything, coming from a phone that hadn't worked in over 15 years. Other people have reported the same thing. The phones ring, you answer, and the voice, it knows your name. It knows things about you, things no one should know. One woman said the voice told her about her sister who died 10 years earlier, her sister who'd gone missing on Highway 83 near Uvalde. They never found the body. The phones are still there, still disconnected. But if you stop there at dusk, listen. Some say you can still hear them, ringing in the distance, waiting for someone to pick up, waiting to tell you something you don't want to know. Interstate 10, near Fort Stockton. There's a rest area with a reputation. Truckers call it the mirror stop. Nobody knows why. A driver named Lisa pulled in one night. She went into the restroom, washed her hands, looked up at the mirror, and froze. There was someone standing behind her. A woman, pale, wet hair, staring, with eyes that were too dark, too empty. Lisa spun around. No one there. She looked back at the mirror. The woman was still there, still staring, still dripping, water pooling at her feet in the reflection. But the floor behind Lisa was dry. Lisa ran out, didn't stop, didn't look back. She told other drivers. They laughed, said she was tired. But then another driver stopped there. Same thing, someone in the mirror, no one in the room. And then another, and another. Always the same woman. Always in the mirror, always behind you, always dripping. The state sent maintenance crews to investigate. They removed the mirrors, replaced them with new ones. But it didn't stop. The woman still appears, still stands behind you, still stares with those empty eyes. Some say she's looking for something. Some say she's warning you. Some say she's trying to tell you something, trying to show you. One driver said he watched her in the mirror for a full minute. She didn't blink, didn't move, just stared. And then she smiled and opened her mouth, and water poured out. Black water pouring from her mouth like a faucet, filling the reflection, rising higher until it reached her eyes, until it covered her face, and then she was gone. But the water, in the reflection, it stayed, swirling, dark. He could see things in it, shapes, faces, pressing against the surface, trying to get out. The mirror stop is still open. The mirrors are still there. But if you stop there at night, maybe don't look too close. Maybe don't look at all. Because once you see her, she sees you too. And some people say, once she sees you, she follows. One driver said he saw her in every mirror after that. His rear view, his bathroom, his phone screen, always standing behind him. Always watching, always dripping. Highway 277 near Abilene, there's a rest stop that sits off the road, hidden by trees. A couple stopped there one night. They were arguing, needed a break, needed space. They parked. The man got out, walked to the picnic area. The woman stayed in the car. She watched him sit down at one of the tables, watched him put his head in his hands. She looked away, checked her phone. When she looked up again, he was gone. She got out of the car, called his name. No answer. She walked to the picnic area. He wasn't there. She checked the restrooms. Empty. She checked the walking trail. Nothing. She called his phone. It rang once, twice, and then she heard it. His ringtone, coming from the woods. Past the tree line, she followed the sound. Into the dark. The ringing stopped. She called again. It rang. Deeper in the woods, further from the light. She kept walking, calling, following, and then she stopped because she realized the ringing was moving, leading her deeper, away from the road, away from the lights, away from help. And there was something else. She could hear footsteps ahead of her, running, but not toward her, away from her, like he was running, like he was being chased. She turned around, ran back to the car, called the police. They searched the woods for 3 days. Found nothing, no sign of him, no tracks, no phone, no body. He was just gone. That was 3 years ago. He's still missing. But sometimes, late at night, people at that rest stop hear a phone ringing, deep in the woods, and if you follow it, the ringing moves. Always deeper, always farther, leading you away into the dark, where the trees grow close and the light doesn't reach, and no one who follows the ringing ever comes back. The police found something, though, something they didn't tell the woman. They found his phone. On the third day, in the woods, 6 miles from the rest stop, the battery was dead. It couldn't have been ringing. But the call log showed something. 73 missed calls, all from his own number, all made after he disappeared. The last story isn't from a rest stop. Not exactly. It's from a stretch of highway near Marfa. But the story starts at a rest area. A man pulled over. Late. Tired. He needed to rest. Just for a few minutes. He reclined his seat, closed his eyes, and when he opened them, it was daylight. He checked his watch. 7 a.m. He'd slept for 6 hours. But something was wrong. His car was facing the opposite direction. He'd parked facing east. Now he was facing west. He got out, looked around. His car was in a different spot, on the other side of the lot. He didn't remember moving it. Didn't remember waking up. He checked his phone. No missed calls, no messages. But there was something else. A photo taken at 3 a.m. A photo he didn't take. It showed the inside of his car from the back seat, like someone had been sitting behind him, taking a picture while he slept. He could see himself in the photo, asleep, mouth open. But there was something else in the picture, something in the rearview mirror. A face, pale, smiling, watching the camera. He deleted the photo, started the car, drove away. But the next night, when he checked his phone, the photo was back. Same image, same timestamp. He deleted it again. It came back. He factory reset his phone. It came back. To this day, that photo appears on his phone every night at 3 a.m. A picture of him sleeping, taken from the backseat of his car. He's changed phones, changed numbers, moved to a different state. But the photo, it still comes back. And each time, the face in the mirror is closer, clearer. He can see details now. The teeth, the eyes, the way the mouth stretches too wide. And last week, the photo changed. Now it's not taken from the back seat. It's taken from beside his bed. He doesn't park at rest stops anymore. He doesn't sleep in his car. But it doesn't matter, because whatever was in that car followed him home. Some say he picked up something that night. Something that followed him home. Something that still watches him. Every night at 3 a.m. And if you ever stop at a rest area in Texas, late at night, when you're alone, check your phone in the morning. Check your photos, because you might find something there. Something you didn't take. Something that shows you sleeping. And if you look close enough, you might see something else. In the background, in the shadows, in the mirror, in the window. Something that shouldn't be there. Something that's been watching you all along. Texas rest stops, miles from anywhere, far from help. The kind of places where you're supposed to feel safe, supposed to rest. But some places remember. Some places hold on to things. And some places are never really empty, even when you're the only one there. If this story made your heart race, hit that like button and subscribe, because here at Chills from Reality, the fear doesn't end when the story does. And if you've ever stopped at a rest area in Texas and felt like something was watching, leave a comment below. Tell us your story, because maybe you're not alone. Maybe you never were. The lights are still flickering, the doors are still unlocked, the roads stretch on forever. And somewhere out there, in the dark, something is waiting. At a rest stop, on a highway you've driven 100 times, waiting for you to pull over, waiting for you to stop. Just for a moment, just long enough to realize you're not the only one there. You never were.